Good morning. Hello. How you doing, everybody? Hi. Didn't notice you there. Actually, I did notice you there because you're on my screen right now. But hey, what's up, everybody? I'm George Jemgochin. I'm the host of the Friday Morning Buzz, and welcome back to another edition of the Friday Morning Buzz, aka the Friday Morning Buzz. We're so glad you can join us, as always.
Hi, I'm Leslie Gallagher. Howdy, good morning, how are you? Sorry, I just want to match George's theme. And we also have our newscaster here today. Hi,
Good
Lauren.
morning.
Yes,
Hello, Lauren.
the whole
We're
gang's here.
Hello.
And not only are the three of us here, but later we've got sports and
yeah.
entertainment. And I'm just so happy the Buzz is bringing back all like these cool segments we had. Like, it's so awesome that we get to have like bits of, what it used to be like. And we're like coming back in and adjusting. It's just great. I'm really excited.
Yeah, as a sports guy, I definitely remember when I did my first sports update. So we do have
Oh,
our sports guy. If you could just unmute your mic and introduce yourself to the airwaves.
Hey gang, Trent Freeman, first
All right.
broadcast, so excited.
Awesome. Hello, Trent. I see you're a Mets fan with the Mets hat on. We'll talk about that later, but that's all
We'll
good.
get there.
Yeah. I gotta admit, Citi Field is one of my favorite ballparks to go to.
Beautiful,
It's a
beautiful park.
beautiful park. Yeah, so today is October 9th, which, if you're a Beatles fan like me, is John Lennon's birthday, 80th birthday. And
oh,
thank you for joining us. Yeah. So
yeah.
maybe when we finish the show, I might play you out with some John Lennon or some Beatles or something. You never know.
No, it's a great idea, George.
Yeah.
Before we get into things, I just want to acknowledge we are like halfway through the semester, and like I don't think we don't realize that until we like say it out loud.
Hmm.
So like, how are you guys doing? Like seriously, like how's it been?
That it for me as a freshman, it's gone by so fast. Like I feel like I just got here, and I'm taking
Yeah.
midterms next week. Like
I had a midterm this week, and I was like, this feels early, and I realized it's actually not. But
Hmm.
yeah, it does feel like really quick. What about you, George? How's your last semester going?
Don't say that. I don't want to be an adult.
Sorry.
It's okay. You know what? Well, I did realize that, hey, you know what? Once you stop working during the summer and you have a job during the summer, that's when you realize that you're becoming an adult. But it also realizes that, look, I have remained a kid for a long time. In my opinion, you're still a kid if you have a backpack and you go to classes. So, I still remain a kid. I contend that everybody at WMSC is a kid at heart. So, but
It's
you
Yeah.
know
all
what?
mindset.
Yeah, it's the mindset that you need to have. So, you know what? I'm happy with the way this semester's been going so far. All A's and B's on the grade scale right now. And hopefully I can end on a good note along with some good Thanksgiving dinner and some good Christmas songs and some snow and some, you know, I don't want to say snow right now because I know it's already cold right now. I mean, I walked outside, it was like 46 degrees, sweatshirt weather, you know, but hey, what can you do?
Yeah. I'm sure your semester will end well. I mean, you're doing great things. You're going to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
WMSC has full confidence in you, as well as every other senior, because everyone just works so hard, you know?
Aw, thank you so much, Leslie. That's
Oh,
why I like having you here as a co-host.
because
Yeah,
I'm just like
you're optimistic.
wholesome.
Yeah.
I try to be. Well, anyways, today on the Morning Buzz, we're going to be talking about the effects of indoor dining amid the pandemic, whether marijuana should be legal in New Jersey, and what is streaming in October. But first, here's Lauren Small with her newscast.
thank you, Leslie. I am indeed Lauren Small, and in national news this morning, President Trump has reportedly turned down a virtual president debate. Due to the outbreak of the coronavirus within White House staff, the October 15th debate was offered to be held virtually to protect the health of everyone involved, but was immediately rejected by Trump. It is still unclear whether President Trump will participate in the next debate. The international news is interesting today. The BBC News reports that a stolen calligraphy scroll written by Mao Zedong has been found cut in half. The man who bought the $300 million worth artwork for just $58 cut the scroll in half thinking it was fake. The man turned the art into the police when he saw the search for the art on the news. For local news today, Eric Kiefer of NJ Patch claims that it takes some Montclair High School students an hour walk to get to school, but they still don't qualify for free busing. After years of parents protesting, the Board of Education has recently planned to expand their free busing to students who have been facing this issue. And for your weather this morning in Montclair, the high will be 69 degrees with the low of 55. There's a 0 chance of rain today and 77% humidity, and the sun will set at 6:24 p.m.
Thank you very much, Lauren. And next up, we have, for the first ever time, Trent Freeman with a sports update. Trent, take it away.
Thank you, George. In professional sports, we'll start on the court where the Los Angeles Lakers are up 3-1 on the Miami Heat. Though unlikely, the Heat still have a chance if they could play good defense and shut down the duo of AD and LeBron. In hockey news, the Rangers select Alexis Lafreniere with their first pick of the 2020 NHL Draft. A lefty shooter that plays left wing, he should help the Rangers for years to come. On the diamond, the New York Yankees take on the Tampa Bay Rays in Game 5 of the ALDS tonight at 7:10 p.m. The winner will play the Houston Astros in the ALCS starting October 11th. In the National League, the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves will go head-to-head in the NLCS on October 12th. The winner of each of these series will find themselves face-to-face in the World Series starting October 29th. As for the gridiron, another week passed without a New York win, as the Giants and Jets both fall to 0-4. But there is a bright side. For any sad New York football fan, it could be worse. The first coach of the 2020 NFL season has been fired. His name, Bill O'Brien. As it stands, the state of the Houston Texans is a sorry one. They are 0-4. Their head coach and general manager was fired in O'Brien. They have 0 first or second round picks in the 2021 draft. DeAndre Hopkins is a Cardinal. They have the NFL's highest payroll at $248 million. And they have the fewest snaps by rookies in the NFL with 85. The next highest, the Pittsburgh Steelers with 216. Now, in case that was hard to follow, allow me to rephrase. They are winless, they have no leadership, they have no draft picks, they have no money, and they're an older team that won't get better just by developing over time. Whether you're a Jets fan or a Giants fan, we can all agree that it could be worse. Whoever takes over the Texans sure has their work cut out for them. That's it for me. I'll send it back to George.
Thank you very much, Trent. Nice job on your first time. Very professional. I like it. I like the use of words.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very descriptive. So let's move on to our first story of the day.
This
Here we
one's
go.
this is just so interesting to me. All right, let's just get into it. And then we can talk about it after. Alrighty. So according to NJ.com, there is no evidence the reopening of indoor dining is causing the recent spike in COVID-19 cases in New Jersey, and state officials are still weighing whether to raise capacity limits as the weather turns colder. The governor made comments that he would raise the capacity limits for indoor dining despite our state's cases being higher than they have since May. Instead of seeking a large increase, Murphy said he's considering raising capacity limits incrementally by 10% over time.
New Jersey allowed gyms, movie theaters, and indoor dining to reopen at 25% capacity and other restrictions in early September. That came after New Jersey's coronavirus numbers have dropped significantly over the summer. Some lawmakers, business owners, and residents have been pushing him to increase the limits. They fear more businesses will be forced to close without it as outdoor dining becomes more challenging through the fall and winter. Murphy had said in recent weeks he will increase indoor dining capacity beyond 25% soon, but he has said that the state needs to see sustained good numbers for that to happen. He did not offer a specific timetable at his recent briefing. So, look, we get that it's cold. There's cold weather going on right now, and we get that there's there's more coronavirus cases than we had since May. But do we still think it's safe to increase capacity just yet?
I just don't know. I feel like I don't know enough about coronavirus and how it affects indoor. And I know people before said that it was dangerous to be in indoor places, but like they're saying there's no evidence. So it's just kind of confusing to me. And, I would understand if they had pointed the fact that we have had like an increase in cases and like that was probably because of schools. But they're just saying it's not the indoor dining, which is confusing to me. What do you guys think about all this?
Okay, so for me, in all honesty, I had already been enjoying indoor dining because I'm like a 20-minute drive from Delaware when I'm in South Jersey. So we would literally drive to Delaware for dinner and enjoy indoor dining. And Delaware's throughout all of this has been like unaffected. Like New Jersey, I don't know if it's just like the way people are here or whatever, but Delaware's been just fine.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
So,
Well, I mean, at the same time, I feel like Delaware, they have a less population than New Jersey, so
Yeah.
there
yeah,
would be.
that's true. New
And
Jersey.
for a while, they weren't even letting people, like, if you had a New Jersey license, you weren't like allowed to buy liquor and everything. Like, they didn't want you there.
Wow. According to the CDC, eating out is among riskiest activities during COVID-19 pandemic.
Which, I
That's
mean,
coming from the CDC, and I trust them more than than anything, if that makes sense, because I feel like they normally know what they're talking about.
They should know what they're talking about, at least.
Right.
yeah, I know, right? Like, I mean, especially with everything going on, you have to rely that trust on someone and some company and some, you know, uh, and some group that you have to turn to. And CDC, when you listen to them, yeah, we think that they're giving us a lot of information that we can take and use to heart, especially in times like this. But when you hear from the governor, hey, it's going to be safe. Hey, it might not be safe. You don't really know who to listen to. But I think with the CDC, you're going to have to really take their word for it. So.
Another interesting thing from the CDC is that they basically report that there's no difference between eating outside and inside, since you can't wear a mask either way, so that like the risk of spreading it or risk of infection is the exact same, which I haven't read anywhere because everyone, I guess I didn't look into it because everyone was like, oh, eating outdoors is safer. But I guess I never really like questioned that. I was just like, whatever. But see, now that they've said that, now I'm just like, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And look, I had over the summer I have eaten outside with a couple friends at a diner recently, and yes, I could see why it is very unsafe. Just as unsafe as eating indoors. But when I think it's limited to capacity, I feel like it would be more if it's more restricted, then I feel like it'll be a little bit safer. I mean, still not very safe, but still, it will be better than like having like a crowded restaurant with everybody sitting around with no mask. So
Yeah, I mean, I think restaurants are doing their best. It's from a business perspective, it's like a huge disadvantage to them. But I don't know. I've been outdoor dining maybe twice with my family, and I felt a little paranoid sitting there, and they made fun of me for it. But I don't know. It just felt really weird because whenever someone would walk by, they usually didn't have a mask or something, and like I don't know. I felt bad for the waiters and waitresses for like because if you're seated, you don't have to wear a mask, but that doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, I
Right.
know what you mean. Like they always push. So you're supposed to be wearing a mask, wearing a mask, wearing a mask. Unless you're sitting down and eating, then you won't get infected. Like
Even if you're sitting down and you're not eating, but when they're taking your order, like you're not even eating it. You're maybe like sipping your drink. But like if there's still a human near you, like taking your order, I would just prefer to put it on.
right.
Because there's another human there, and that's everyone has their own opinion on that. But I don't know, it just doesn't really make sense to me, like logically. When you say it out loud, it sounds kind of silly. I don't know. I just feel bad for waiters and waitresses who like probably need the money but are at high risk. Just
Yeah.
sucks.
What made me laugh was hearing that the mall, you had to wear masks everywhere throughout the mall, no matter what, like except in a movie theater eating popcorn. I thought that was such a weird line to draw in the sand. The popcorn in the movie theater is where we're not bending.
I don't even know how to explain why that's funny. It just is like the way you said that. It's just, I guess people really love their popcorn. I don't even know.
Well, I mean, when you're at a movie theater, you eat popcorn. That's like the one thing you do. You eat popcorn, drinking your soda. You know.
It's the
Mm.
experience. How can
Yeah.
you take that away?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would feel a little ridiculous to wear a mask in a movie theater, but if it's really crowded, I wouldn't even wear my mask. I would just leave.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, I don't want to be here with a bunch of people.
True. I mean, yeah, but and also just thinking about like I've eaten on campus in the dining halls plenty of times, you know, and when you do it, you don't wear your mask. Um, but it's beginning to make me rethink about, you know, should I really do this? Should I just take it out and eat somewhere else? And you know, it's making me begin to rethink my choices and really just, you know, rethink my safety. So.
Hmm. How is it
Yeah.
dining on campus? I know that Lauren and George are on campus. Trent, I don't know if you're on campus, but like, what is that like right now? Because I'm not there.
Usually it's just like you pick up your food and you kind of bring it somewhere else.
That's
to
so
eat it.
sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I've been to the Student Center Cafe and the Dunkin' Donuts at Blanton Hall, and you get your food, and then you sit at one of the tables that has stickers on it,
What's
and you
the
sit
sticker?
down. Stickers that say that you can sit here and social distance
Oh, okay.
at the tables. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I
Mhm.
haven't been there.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
not everyone like cares about the stickers. I've noticed
Yeah.
like people don't always really
I can
care.
only imagine. I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I feel.
this is my first. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're good, Trent. You go ahead.
This is my first year commuting. Usually I'm on campus, but the other day I went into Chili's in Blanton, and I was like, I was shocked. I was mortified. There were just people everywhere. Nobody had a mask on.
Oh my
It
God.
was pretty scary. I got my food and left. I was
Mhm.
Yikes.
kind of
Does
sick
that
of.
happen often, guys? Oh my God.
I mean, I'm in Blanton right now, and it just depends on the time of day. Like, there's really just a certain point where there's just this random crowd of people that just don't care, and they're in like huge groups, no mask. Like, you're right, it is crazy.
Wow. That's so bizarre. I haven't been to campus in a very, very, very long time. So like
Yeah,
I have no idea what's going on
like
ever.
regarding the dining and everything, I think it's all just up to like people using their own common sense. Like, if you're gonna get up, put the mask on. If you feel uncomfortable, put the mask on. Like,
I feel like I would just always be in my room like eating, which is so sad. I
Mhm.
feel like a big part of my freshman year on campus was like after class, all of my friends and I would just like go over to Sam's and get food, and we would stay there and we would talk and do homework for like hours, and like that was like what we did like almost every day.
The mention of Sam's Place. Oh my goodness. Like,
I don't like their food, but we were
I
there
know.
all the time.
Right. Yeah, same. Like, I just go there if I wanted a cheap meal or something. But yeah, freshman year I got food poisoning from there, so I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, don't even get me started on Sam's.
Mm-hmm.
Whew, let's move on.
Good plan.
We move on when we start talking too much about Sam's dining hall.
Yeah.
Alrighty. George, you want to take it off with this story? This one's interesting.
So Governor Phil Murphy, is calling on voters to say yes to a ballot question to legalize marijuana, hoping New Jersey will make history and become the first state in the region to have a legal weed market. The governor appeared yesterday afternoon in a virtual panel with members of the NJCAN 2020, a coalition of activists, doctors, lobbyists, and business interests that launched earlier this year to campaign in favor of the ballot question. The campaign and Murphy have highlighted racial justice issues as reasons to legalize. police in New Jersey arrest some 100 people a day for marijuana-related offenses, and black people are charged 3.5 times more often than white people, despite similar rates of use, studies show. Murphy said, quote, "The fact is that current marijuana laws stifle both social justice and economic development," unquote.
Murphy himself campaigned for governor in 2017 on the promise of bringing legal weed to the Garden State. But after several attempts, the state legislature fell short of the votes needed to pass a bill. They moved to put the issue of the 2020 ballot instead last fall. Murphy said he came to change his opinion of cannabis prohibition in recent years after learning about the high cost of enforcing marijuana laws and the outsized impact on people of color. Murphy said Murphy and activists are also encouraging voters to remember to turn over their ballots to find the question. With most of the state voting by mail for the first time, some worry that voters will miss the question entirely. So definitely check for that on your ballot.
Right. So before we start this discussion, we just have to keep in mind that the opinions of the hosts of WMSC do not reflect the opinions of the entire station. So, yeah.
You're just individuals talking.
Just individuals. We have opinions. But anyway, look. One thing's for sure is that the governor Murphy himself, like I've been checking up with his Twitter, and he's really open and upfront about how he feels about this issue. He's saying, vote yes, and I've never seen a governor actually say, "Hey, vote yes" on an issue like this. I've never
Yeah.
seen that happen.
He's very sure in his opinion, and I like how confident he is in his decision, and like how he's like putting forth his own opinion, but it's just interesting. I don't think everyone will agree with it because this is a little controversial. I mean, just like even without the aspect of race, even before that, there's a lot of people who are very like for having marijuana use legal, and there's people who are very strongly against it, and then now bringing race into it is like another level to consider. So it's interesting. I don't know how far you guys want to get into this. Does anyone have any thoughts they'd like to say?
Well, medical marijuana is already legal in 33 states. It's already legal in New Jersey, which I think is an interesting point to bring up.
That is interesting. But I guess governor wants to make it legal for non-medical uses.
Well, it really costs a lot of money for like the amount of marijuana like charges, like the judicial and like corrections officers and everything. It costs billions of dollars to like with marijuana related cases.
Not only that, just holding people in prison is like so outrageously expensive. If you look that up, how much it costs to house someone in a prison for a nonviolent crime, I think is just, I don't know.
Yeah, and the prisons are like overpacked right now. It makes sense to like lessen what we're putting people in jail for if it's really necessary.
Yeah, so it does make sense from that standpoint, like, because then less people would be in jail. I don't think this would fully fix the issues within the system that they're concerned about race. The fact that they're charged 3.5 times more, like I don't know. It's confusing to me. I wish they would focus more on that. But also, I mean, like, I understand that this would be helpful, but it also is somewhat of a surface issue.
It doesn't address the problem.
That makes sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'd rather see justice, if that makes sense.
I think they relate.
Fair.
I think they relate, but they're not exactly the same issue. Like, they're not going to solve each other.
Right. Like, legalizing marijuana won't fix the racial problems in New Jersey or America. I can see how it's helpful, but it's not fixing the system, which I think is what a big part of like the protest and the movement is for, you know. But I don't know, just George, you've got anything for us? Anything you want to say?
Well, you know what? This is just my opinion, of course. You know, just keep this in mind. That look, with everything going on, I think with, it's becoming more legalized in other states, and medical marijuana is legalized too. And as long as people are using it recreationally and not, in a bad way, and they're not driving under the influence of it, then you know what? Fine, I have no problem with it. You know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think that's a thing that a lot of people hesitate with, is that there is no, at least as far as I know, there is no, like, in terms of the driving, you can take a breathalyzer test. What do you do for recreational marijuana? I think that's the thing that a lot of people, like, that keeps them from endorsing it or from voting for it, is
Mhm.
just that fear, which is a real one.
yeah, I mean, I know that they do have a way to test them, but not quite as convenient as the breathalyzer test. Like, so yeah, you bring up a good point there, Trent.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take a while. Like, if it were to be legalized, it's gonna take a while to perfect like everything. I mean, we have all these things for alcohol because it's been legal for 100 years and everything. Like, we've had time to perfect the laws, if they're even perfect at this point.
Oh boy. Oh boy. You just
Well, I mean, like, no, everything
it's
can
just
be,
funny the way you said that. Like,
yeah.
there's so many things wrong
Yeah,
with.
well, everything can be improved always.
Yeah, there's definitely room for improvement. I mean, there's drunk driving incidents so often that people question if alcohol should even be legal. That's a whole nother issue. um, yeah, I mean, I know people make the argument that marijuana isn't as dangerous as alcohol, and that's why it should be legalized. If alcohol is legalized, then marijuana should be. That's what people say, not me. I'm just quoting other people I know. And I don't really know if that's a good justification, but that's just what I have to think. Just because
Mhm.
Wow.
one thing is
So
happening doesn't mean another thing needs to happen. I don't think that's good enough reason.
apparently, Trent, regarding your question with like testing, there's no breath test to measure marijuana use. You have to use blood testing.
Hmm.
That's
What?
interesting. So
That's
you get a police will pull you over and administer a finger prick. I would
What?
assume.
I'm not, as someone that's very squeamish with blood and needles. I don't like that.
Oh, me too, George.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we move on to pizza? Anyone want some
Well, I
pizza?
mean, look, I love pizza, but it's the same thing. How many times have we had to talk about Domino's for the past couple weeks? Oh my
It's
gosh.
like the fifth time it's been brought up. I'm sorry.
Ugh. All right, fine. Go
Well, it's
just
the first time for me. I'll take a slice. You know.
all right. You know what? Leslie, just do your story. Do your little thing, okay? Just go ahead. All right. Yeah.
Okay, so the pandemic lifted Domino's sales. People are flocking to America's biggest chains in the pandemic, and that should be great news for Domino's. But just as COVID-19 has people buying more pizza, it has led to higher costs for everything, from cleaning supplies to worker pay. Ingredient costs have also fluctuated. The company says cheese prices have been swinging wildly during the pandemic, going from an all-time low at one point to an all-time high last quarter. And that's meant Domino's increased sales have muted profits that disappointed Wall Street. The pizza chain stock dropped about 7% yesterday after it announced its earnings for the third quarter. The company reported a profit of $249 a share, falling short of $279 that Wall Street expected. That's despite sales surging almost 18% in the quarter. The CFO said that between safety and cleaning equipment plus enhanced sick pay, the total costs come to $11 million. The company expects those costs to remain for the duration of the pandemic. Even though the company's profit was lower than expected in the latest quarter, analysts are bullish on Domino's long-term potential? George?
Pizza is the ultimate quarantine food. It travels well, can feed a whole family, and holds up as leftovers. That's been particularly good for Domino's.
You seem so upset, George.
Over the years, Domino made a number of decisions that had set it up for success now. Even more than other pizza chains, it invested in digital infrastructure. The chain has rolled out unique features like hotspots, which let people order pizza to the beach and other outdoor locations, and has tested out self-driving delivery cars. It's also using a fortressing strategy. That's when chains set up numerous locations in one area so that most residents are within delivery range of a Domino's DPZ, delivery pizza zone. So I guess that's what it stands for. And new menu items like chicken taco pizzas, cheeseburger pizzas, and chicken wings have done well. Last year, Domino's held 27% of the market amount among large pizza chains, according to food service data firm Techmonic. Pizza Hut was next on the list at 21%, followed by Little Caesars at 15% and Papa John's at 10%. Charles Winship, senior research analyst at Technomic, said that the firm projects that both Domino's and Papa John's will gain market share this year. But Technomic expects Domino's to remain in the top spot. The chain is building up a pretty good lead over the rest of the categories, said Winship. Papa John's has seen sales jump during the pandemic and at even higher rates than Domino's. In the 3 months that ended on September 27th, sales at North American stores open for at least a year popped nearly 24% compared to the same period last year.
Okay, so just before we get into this, to all of you who may be listening to this who are not from New Jersey or not from New York, why would you choose Papa John's over Domino's?
Why would you choose Domino's in general?
I've had both. Domino's is better than Papa John's.
No. Domino's tastes like Chuck E. Cheese pizza. You're never gonna get the best pizza from any kind of fast food restaurant. It's going to be from the best kind of pizza. Personally, for me, is going to be from your local pizzeria.
Well, of course, but you're not getting Domino's for good pizza. You're getting it for fast pizza that is your own. Like the 2 medium, 2 topping, $5.99. It's hard to beat. You get your own pizza, get your own toppings. You're not going for it's quantity over quality is exactly what it is.
Yeah, and I feel like, it's just, I'm just saying, like, if you're not from New York, New Jersey, you don't have access to our amazing pizza. You have your pretty trash options, but
that's a pretty blunt way of saying it, Leslie.
Scientifically, that's been proven.
Yeah, because of the water. So, something about the water that they make with the dough. So
yeah, we got the best pizza and the best bagels. I'm proud.
I can care less about the bagels, honestly.
What?
Yeah,
that's a crime, sir.
Like, look. So I mean, I've had bagels in other places of the United States. So what?
You're not like in love with bagels?
No, I bagels are just a bald donut, and I don't like bald donuts. I like
donut. It's so mean.
Wow, that's cold.
For real. No, you've never had like a really like hot fresh.
Yes, no, I've had
sandwich.
I've had hot bagel sandwiches.
Here's my question. It's gonna sound weird. Have you ever had a hobo? It's a breakfast sandwich.
What's on it?
Describe it.
Taylor ham, egg, cheese, hash brown on a bagel. The hash brown just blows the ceiling off breakfast sandwiches forever.
Why is it called a hobo?
Genuinely, not sure. But if you get bacon on it, it's a bobo, and sausage, it becomes a sobo. So
interesting. You know what's funny? I thought that sounded like a South Jersey thing, but being that you're from North Jersey and Montvale, I'm like, oh, okay. So it's a regional Jersey thing. So,
yeah. Taylor ham could have given that away too.
Taylor ham, yeah, that gives it away too. Which we're not going to get into that debate today.
No, we're just gonna call it what we call it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe you don't like bagels.
I mean, look, I like bagels.
But you're not obsessed with them.
No, and I don't get how they're any different from any other state's bagels.
So
Oh
here's
my
the thing.
gosh.
Have you had one out of state? Because
Yes.
have you had a Dunkin' bagel? Because I have, and that was an awful day for me.
Gosh. Well, look, I've had bagels at other bagel eateries, you know, whether it's in Florida or New York or Connecticut, and there's no
Okay.
I don't see the difference.
Okay, let me tell you the difference. Okay, bagel lessons with Leslie. Okay, the New Jersey ones are like fluffy. First of all, they're huge. They're just like they look beautiful in their bald donutness. They're beautiful. They're like shiny on the inside. You cut it open, it's like nice and fluffy and airy. Let's say you get a bagel from like Dunkin' Donuts or like anywhere that doesn't really matter for as far as bagel quality. It's like flat and like sad. It tastes like cold and like it's been sitting there for too long. The water's off. You can just tell, and it's biting into it is not an enjoyable breakfast experience.
I would agree with that. My cousin grew up in New York, now lives in California, and drives an hour to get his bagels because there's one bagel place that I'm not going to pretend that I know anything about water or the creation of bagels, but somehow they have a machine that does something to the water in the creation process that makes it like a New Jersey, New York bagel. And he says that he only goes there. He'll take an hour trip out of his way to get that bagel. So
Wow.
I'm sorry, George, but you're wrong.
And you're a Mets fan, so you know.
That's a low blow. That's
Sorry. I shouldn't have said that. You know what? We're both Giants fans, so we share the pain of how, you know, we won 2 Super Bowls and all of a sudden, you know,
yeah.
Saquon's out with an injury, but that's beside the
My heart is broken.
Real quick,
Shout out to Saquon for a swift recovery.
Oh my gosh, Saquon, you are the man. You are the future. Anyway.
real quick before we move on, what is everyone's bagel order except George? Because George lost his place.
He's lost credibility.
Yes. So Trent, what's your go-to New Jersey bagel order? Go.
Well, I just said my hobo. It gets me every
Oh,
time.
true.
Yeah.
Already, Lauren?
I'm sorry. I like pumpernickel bagels, but I don't like
Fine.
I don't like eggs, so I'm just a cream cheese. It does the job. It's amazing.
That sounds lovely. I love pumpernickel bagels sometimes.
Thank you. I feel like a grandpa when I order that.
Okay, my brother loves pumpernickel bagels too.
Yeah, my
When he
mom.
first told me what it was, I was like, I have no idea what that is. But then I tasted it. It's not bad. It's good. My go-to order is usually egg bagel with cream cheese. Egg bagels are my favorite. Or egg bagel with sausage, egg, and cheese.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised it's sausage, eggs, and cheese, not Telehammer pork roll.
I don't know. I like sausage for breakfast better than I guess.
It's less controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is less controversial. But yeah, so we're gonna move on to something completely different than what we've been talking about. I have no segue. We're gonna be talking about the show that just recently came out, Soulmates. Apparently, it paints a future where science can identify your perfect match. Created by Will Bridges, who credits include Black Mirror and Stranger Things, and actor-writer Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso, the series is especially effective in varying its tone from episode to episode, ranging from straight romantic drama to more comedic excursion to Mexico to an hour with tinges of horror. Soulmates is essentially a utopia-like show where it explores the possibility of how it would be like to discover your soulmate through science. At its core is the idea of better living through science. What would you do if there was a test to identify your soulmate? And the consequences, often unintended, such a prospect could yield. Set in the near future, the development of the test instantly raises a host of questions explored over the course of the 6-episode run. What if you were to match with someone when such a test became available and they're not your ideal match? What if your soulmate exposes a side of you that you didn't recognize or fully understand? And what if your soulmate dies?
The premiere nicely lays out the format, with Succession's Sarah Snook enjoying a seemingly idyllic life with her husband Kingsley Ben-Adir, who is the actor, only to have that unsettled by seeing the impact of the test, marketed by a company called Soul Connects, on those around here. Even happiness might not be enough when the prospect of a scientifically ordained soulmate is possible. At its core, the show explores some extremely profound issues, beginning with the notion of conceding our independence and free will over to technological or scientific solutions. It's not that great a leap, after all, from the test to an existing dating romance ecosystem that already promises computer-blessed matches, only here the concept is put on steroids. The producers have assembled an excellent roster of actors, with subsequent episodes featuring a pair with Breaking Bad pedigrees, Betsy Brandt and David Costabile, as well as Charlie Heaton, Malin Ackerman, and Bill Skarsgård. Soulmates premiered October 5th at 10 p.m. on AMC.
Wow. Um, so this I love utopia like shows like this that are like trying to have some new discovery in science. Like I watch a lot of Black Mirror episodes for that reason, because some of them were just so interesting about like what life would be like if technology did X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Would you guys take this test if it really existed?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I think someone hurt this man, Will Bridges. Someone broke his heart, because if he's a creator of Black Mirror. There's an episode just like this.
There is, yes.
Really?
Someone hurt this
Yes.
man.
It's called Hang the DJ, season
Yeah.
4. I love that
I
episode.
haven't seen season 4. That's why.
Watch it. It's pretty much like this, but a heck of a lot more complicated, because you have to like do a lot more to find your soulmate. But the whole point of it is to, like, at the end, people find their soulmate, but it seems like a really tricky dating app at first. It's a lot more of a confusing plot.
Yeah. They
This- Like straight up tells you who it is or something.
I don't think as a society we would accept it, if that makes sense, because I
Hmm.
feel like throughout your life, the dating process, so many ups and downs and downs and downs that we all get to a
Yeah.
point where we're just defeated and we're comfortable settling. And
Mm.
that's how people live happily ever after, I think. So,
That's an
so I
interesting
think
take.
that if it's just handed on a silver platter, I'm not sure if it would work out.
I know exactly what you mean, because a lot of our culture is like, you know, going through the dating phase and figuring it out yourself, and like going through those ups and downs, finding out who you are, finding out what you like. And that's a big thing that people go through from like high school until maybe like 25 or something. I don't know, whenever you find your person. What if the test, maybe if you didn't find someone by like 30, then you took it? or
But what if
something
your
like
match
that?
is with someone else?
See, that would be really awkward. So, but anyways, I guess we're gonna move on, because we have some more exciting entertainment things to talk about. We're gonna be talking about what's streaming in October besides, this show. So we got some new horror releases. One of them is Bad Hair. It's a horror satire set in 1989. It follows an ambitious young woman played by Elle Lorraine, who gets a weave in order to succeed in the image-obsessed world of music television. However, her flourishing career comes at a great cost when she realizes that her new hair may have a mind of its own. So instead of having a haunted doll, it's having haunted hair, which I haven't seen that before, so that's interesting to me. Next one is The Lie. This will be on Amazon Prime. When their teenage daughter confesses to impulsively killing her best friend, two desperate parents try to cover it up with a web of lies and deception. The Sounds will be brought to you by Acorn TV. In this riveting, twisty psychological thriller, Rachelle Leviv and Matt Wellen star as a married Canadian couple who moves halfway around the world to a small town in New Zealand to start a new life that will help them revive the local troubled economy, but not everyone in the community welcomes the new change. The last one is quite wholesome. If You Give a Mouse a Pumpkin. If you guys remember those books from when we were a kid.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
This Halloween story stars the characters of Laura Numeroff's book and TV series and tells a tale of friendship and kindness.
And so some new non-horror releases. The Mandalorian Season 2, The Mandalorian and the Child continue their journey, facing enemies and rallying allies as they make their way through a dangerous galaxy in the tumultuous era after the collapse of the Galactic Empire. Emily in Paris, Emily, an ambitious 20-something marketing executive from Chicago, unexpectedly lands her job in Paris, her dream job in Paris. Her new life is filled with intoxicating adventures and surprising challenges as she juggles work, friendship, and romance, which is on Netflix, and also The Mandalorian's on Disney+. Deaf U, in this docuseries, a tight-knit group of deaf students share their stories and explore the perks and pitfalls of life at Gallaudet University, which is in Netflix. Tiny World, narrated by Paul Rudd, the series takes a unique perspective on the natural world, exploring the inequity and resilience of the smallest animals on the planet. Brand new camera technology allows us for the very first time to see the world through the eyes of the tiniest creatures and witness the extraordinary things they do to survive. Apple TV. And finally, Good Hair. In this eye-opening documentary, comedian and actor Chris Rock takes the audience around the world to shine a light on the importance of hair in our culture, especially in the Black community, which is on Hulu. So, with that being said, we're going to have on our show, of course, the man, the myth, the Montclarian legend, Thomas Niera. I said your last name wrong, but Thomas, thank you for coming on.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me, George. Leslie.
No
Alright.
problem. What's going on in the entertainment world? I'm dying to know as it's Halloween season's coming up. Let us know.
I don't have a lot of horror picks. I actually don't like horror movies. I get too scared. But we can talk about it after. There are some horror movies I do like.
Okay.
So don't you worry. But for now, in movie release news, the new A24 film On the Rocks recently had a limited theater release beginning October 2nd, and it will be available on Apple TV Plus beginning October 23rd. The film centers on a wife/mother of two named Laura, who fears that her husband is having an affair. She contacts her father, Felix, for help, and the two decide to take matters into their own hands and investigate themselves. The film is written and directed by Sofia Coppola, who is best known for writing and directing the 2003 film Lost in Translation, earning her the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. This film also stars Rashida Jones and Bill Murray in the leading roles. Jones, best known for her roles in The Office and Parks and Recreation, while Murray is known for his work in classic comedy films such as Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day, in addition to also being in Coppola's Lost in Translation. The supporting cast also includes Marlon Wayans and Jenny Slate. In television this week, the season 2 finale of the Amazon Prime original series The Boys premieres today, October 9th. This take on a superhero show is about two teams of superheroes, the Seven, a team of corrupt superheroes working for the fictional corporation Vought International, and the eponymous team The Boys, a team of vigilantes who aim to take down corrupt superheroes. The show is based on the comic book series by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson, and stars Carl Urban, best known for his roles in the Lord of the Rings and Star Trek reboot film series. The show also stars Jack Quaid, Erin Moriarty, and Anthony Starr. In music, Rex Orange County released a live album on September 30th titled Live at Radio City Music Hall. The album is a mix of performances from both of his sold-out shows at the venue in New York City earlier this year on February 7th and February 8th, and includes songs from all three of his albums, Because You Will Never Be Free, Apricot Princess, and Pony, and also features a live cover of Billy Joel's New York State of Mind. The album is of particular interest to me specifically because I actually went to one of those shows. I attended the February 7th show with my girlfriend, and it was an amazing show. And now with this live album, we get to relive that special day every day. In Montclarian Entertainment, Charlie Reef reviewed the Netflix film I'm Thinking of Ending Things. She calls the film from filmmaker Charlie Kaufman, quote, his most Kaufman yet, end quote, subverting traditional genre and made complete with visual storytelling. Karina Flores reviewed the live-action Disney remake of Mulan, saying it might not be what fans may expect of the film. And while it does have some merit, Flores says the film fails to, quote, portray women as complex, multifaceted people, end quote. She also warns that the $30 asking price for the film, on top of having a Disney Plus subscription, might drive away some potential viewers. And also, last week, the Montclarian's entertainment editor Sam Nungesser published an article promoting WMSC's College Radio Day. The piece included quotes from several members of the WMSC team, including General Manager Annabella Poland, Station Manager AJ Malillo, Programming Director Joshua Tirado, and Office Manager Kaya Masiak in anticipation for the event. And from what I hear, it was a great success.
Great success. But
It
yeah.
was. It was a fun day. If you were here for the buzz last week, we had a super buzz. It was great. And the station did so many more things.
Oh,
But
I
it's so
heard.
much fun. Yeah, just being a part of it in the morning and doing sports are dumb later in the day. Lots of fun. And of course, the senior send-offs with me and Ryan, saying goodbye to all the seniors on our last college radio day. It was sad, but you know what? We're not gonna cry today. So
We're not going to talk about that.
no. But look, Thomas, before we ask you some questions, look, Rex Orange County is very popular here at the station. A lot of music people love him. I like Rex Orange County, and I actually thought about going to see him at Radio City. Like, I saw that he was coming, and I'm like, you know what? Should I get tickets? Should I not? I saw a lot of people were going there, and I know he played at Radio City in the past. So I'm like, should I really? I mean, look, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And then I'm like, you know what? I just don't think I have the money. I don't think I'll be able to travel to the city by myself. And unfortunately, I missed out on the good concert because I saw everyone's Snapchats of that and just, him singing Lovin' Is Easy. And, it's just, tell me, what was that concert like? I got to ask you because I love Rex. So,
It was an amazing concert. It's actually the second Rex concert I've been to. The first one was in Philadelphia, but this time it was really cool because he actually came out wearing a suit and his whole band were just tricked out in suits saying, oh, it's Radio City Music Hall. We got to dress up for the occasion. And he's just such a charming person. Like, he's like charmingly awkward to an extent where like he realizes he's a little awkward, but that's what everyone loves about him. And just everyone just losing their minds, just screaming at the top of their lungs. Everyone's at there was a huge Rex fan, including me and my girlfriend. We were just shouting the lyrics word after word. And he just completely stole the show. I didn't expect someone like him to have such a huge stage presence, but he does.
mm-hmm.
And he's just an amazing artist. I love him too.
Oh my gosh, it's perfect.
He's
Well,
amazing.
the live album's coming out, so I am looking forward to it. So, but yeah, some questions for you. So, what new releases are you looking forward to in October, especially with all the streaming services and all the movies that might come back to theaters?
Well, for this month, something I talked about was The Boys. I haven't watched it, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. Some of my family members watch it. Some people I have on social media can't stop talking about it. And I love really weird takes on superhero themes. Maybe that's why I liked, I don't know if you guys watched Watchmen, the series or the film, but the film polarized people a lot, like halfway through, but I was one of those few people that loved it, the Zack Snyder version. And it's just taking like such a straightforward concept like that of a superhero show, oh, there's a good guy and then there's a bad guy, and sort of like splitting it down the middle is something that I'm completely interested by. I love new takes on things like that. So The Boys is probably what I'm most interested in this month.
Gotcha.
So I know you said you're not into horror, but like, what horror movies do you like that you have seen? If you have any, do you have any?
I have a few. I'm probably getting into more recent horror films because for the most part, things just scare me. I just get too scared too easily.
It's okay.
But
We all have our own taste.
I really like the more recent It movies, but mostly because they have like that comedic component to them.
Yeah, that's
just-
definitely like can make you feel like a little less scared. So I know
Oh
what you
yeah,
mean.
for sure. But I also liked Ari Aster films like Hereditary and Midsommar. I'm not sure if you guys have seen those.
I heard of them. I haven't seen them. I didn't.
They're
Oh.
available on Amazon Prime,
Oh, okay.
and they're Hereditary is a really cool horror film because it's more of a suspenseful horror film where it just really keeps you on the edge of your seat. Midsommar is definitely more gory,
Ugh.
but it also has that same component by the same filmmaker. And if I would have to pick any horror films, I guess it would be those.
Yeah.
You like some, which is good. I'm glad because I always like recommend new recommendations for horror films around October because I love horror movies and Halloween movies. So it's just exciting to watch new things.
Mm.
Although I do like
What's your favorite, Leslie?
my favorite, off the top of my head, I really like The Conjuring. You never saw that? It's a
Oh,
good
no,
one.
I'm just terrified of horror movies. I'm with Tommy.
Oh, okay.
Same. There we go.
Yeah, I love that movie. I just thought it was like really complex and cool. It's based on a real story, which is extra terrifying. They dramatize it for film, but it was interesting. I liked a lot of things about it. I know they had a second one, and then they had the Annabelle movies that were not good, but The Conjuring and I'm pretty sure The Conjuring 2 was also good. So I like those a lot.
Mm,
But I like, the classics too, like
right.
Halloween Town. I watched that last year with my sister. I just think it's like so nostalgic. It's like I think it's a Disney movie, I believe. It just
Yeah.
reminds me of my childhood and like that whole series. I love it. What about you? Does anyone else like horror movies that isn't me?
I love horror movies.
Good.
I'm a huge fan of Jaws. It's not a horror movie, but it makes you scared. So,
Yeah, I could never finish that movie as a kid because I got scared of it the first time I
Mm.
watched it when I was 7, and I never finished it because I got scared.
Yeah, but also Nightmare on Elm Street. It was very good. Us, Get Out. You know.
Us is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mhm.
Seriously, like I've watched it like 3 times. It's okay, that's not that many times, but it's really good. It also
Right.
reminded me another like thriller suspense one is A Quiet Place.
Mhm.
Quiet Place 2 was supposed to come out and then quarantine happened. Yeah. Did anyone here see the Quiet Place?
Yeah, see, those are the ones that I can enjoy.
Yeah, see
Like A
it's a
Quiet
little
Place, Us, Get Out. Those ones I can sleep at night.
because
But
they're more psychological thrillers than
yes,
jump scares. That's probably why. They're like a different take on horror, which I like too. Definitely
Mhm.
shakes things up. Like, all the ones about, going into like a haunted house or something, it's like, okay.
Right.
Like it's I guess it gets repetitive, but the ones that like really like mess up your brain, I love those because it's different and I don't know, it's just really creative.
Mhm. And before we finish our show, we want to have our Morning Buzz producer on to talk about something very special. Hello, Ryan. Ryan Schrick. He's got his sweatshirt on despite being
Yep.
indoors.
It's cold in my room, George.
All right. Okay. Gotcha.
Thank you for having me on, and also I put it in the chat because I get really heated about people in horror movies. Annabelle, dumb concept. Throw the doll in the box, ship it across the ocean. Problem solved. Last I checked, the doll can't swim. That said, I do have a bit of an announcement. So we do have the Morning Buzz is known as the weekday morning news and talk show, and we had a bit of an idea. I'd like to call it the brainchild of my co-producer and I after 6 hours of meetings and classes and very little sleep. That said, the brainchild was a weekend edition, more of a lifestyle show, and we just, I believe, yesterday or the day before, finally gave it a name, and it
Yes,
should
yesterday.
be, yeah, yesterday gave it a name, and it will hopefully be airing, if not this weekend, the next weekend. Leslie Gallagher, you are one of the 2 producers of it, and Lauren, I know you are also having a special mental health segment on the show.
yes.
Yeah.
So look forward to the weekend wake up featuring some of your favorite Buzz personalities. It's going to be a lifestyle show, pre-recorded at the time being, so it won't be live, but you can always check it out if you are interested on YouTube and possibly on SoundCloud, and we'll definitely be promoting it on our socials. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Super proud of Leslie and everybody else putting it together. And I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Ryan, from your weird brainchild ideas
Yeah.
and giving it
I
to
was
me.
like, this would be such a cool idea. I really don't want to add more stuff to my plate.
You're like, let's just give it to other people who are
I was like,
interested in
let's
weird
figure,
stuff.
let's give it to somebody else.
basically gave me all the power to do what I want, and
There you go.
I pretty much ran with it. So
It's true.
it's
So
pretty
you
awesome.
and Caitlin, I believe, are going to be hosting it, rotating guests. So it'll be fun, and I'm very excited. And hopefully, I can come on during the Halloween show as well.
You're coming. It's decided.
All about it. Now, George, I'm gonna throw it back to you because you know what time it is.
It is the top of the hour here at 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I wanted to say thank you all for joining us here on the Friday edition of the Morning Buzz. Your sports contributor was Trent Freeman. Your news contributor was Lauren Small. Your entertainment contributor was Thomas Nera. Your researcher was Fred Sly. Your co-host was Leslie Gallagher. And your host and board op is George Jim Gochin. With that being said, this is George Jim Gochin wishing you love, peace, and soul. And remember, if WMSC is not on your radio, then your radio really isn't on. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for doing everything and coming on the show. We'll be back next week. Thank you.